stop share, press record, and now share. Okay. Okay. This poem is called Count That Day Lost. We already talked about what that might mean. Okay, and it's by someone named George Eliot. All right, on the bottom of this slide, you have a place where you can click on, where you can hear this poem being read. Okay, if you want to listen to it. If you sit down at set of sun. So if you sit down, when are they talking about that you might sit down? What does that mean, set of sun?
Out of the day, sun comes down.
Yeah, so like at the end of your day, if you sit down at the end of your day and count the acts that you have done. What does count mean here?
Oh.
Explore, right. And you count, you say like, I did this today. What did I do today? I did this today. I did that today. I did this. I did this. I did this. You go through, right? What does that mean by count the acts you have done? Count the maasim, the things that you did. You go through your day and you talk about the things that you think to yourself, what are the things that I did today? What are the things that I did? And counting, and while you're counting, while you're going through what you did during the day, find. So while you're going through the things that you did during the day, you find one self-denying deed, one word that eased the heart of him who heard. Okay, that you find one self-denying deed. What's a self-denying deed? What's a deed? First of all, what's a deed? What's that word deed mean? What does a deed mean?
Master.
Master. Okay, a self-denying deed. To deny is the lachish, right? But a self-denying deed is a deed that you do, that is an act, is something that you do that you lose out from it. Okay, that you, because you did it, it cost you money, it cost you time, right? Let's say I agree to help you with your homework and then I can't go to the movie I wanted to go to. That would be a self-denying deed, an act that I do that denies from myself something. Okay, I'm doing something and I then lose out something for myself. So if when I go through the acts that I did during the day, I find something that I did that I lost out of, okay? Or even a word that I said. A word that I said, meaning like, you know, nice to see you. You look beautiful. That eased the heart of him who heard. That eased, what does that mean to ease the heart?
To make someone feel good.
Okay, right? To make someone feel better. So if when I go through the things that I did during the day, I find one self-denying deed, one good thing that I did for somebody else that I lost out on, or you know what, not even that, not even something that I lost out on, just a word that I said that eased the heart of him who heard. Or I'm looking now at line 6, or one glance most kind, that fell like sunshine where it went. You know what? Even not a word. You didn't even have to say a word, just a look, a glance, a mabat. Okay? A glance most kind, just a kind, adiv glance that I make that eased the heart, that fell like sunshine where it went, that brightened somebody's day, that made somebody feel better. I look at you and I give you a smile or a loving look, an understanding look, and it brightens your day. It makes you feel better. Then you may count that day well spent. Then you may count. Here, what does the word count mean? Here?
Lachshir.
Lachshir. Then you may count that day well spent. אז אפשר להחשיב את היום הזה כיום shaveh. Yom, that a day that you spent that was worthwhile. Okay, so what do I have to do to make my day worthwhile? To be able to count a day as a worthwhile day?
Make someone happy.
Okay, to make someone happy, to make someone feel better, to do something for somebody else, right? To do something to make someone else feel better. According to the person who wrote this poem, that for a day to be worthwhile, okay, for a day to be well spent, is where I do something for someone else. There's like 3 different things mentioned that I could do for someone else, and it goes like from really not, like practically nothing, to something that is more difficult. So what's the thing, what's like the lowest level, would you say, of what's mentioned here? You can quote, let's from the poem.
Glance.
Okay, one glance most kind, right? Just a look, that's all. So that, even just a look would be enough to count that day well spent. What's the next thing after the look?
One word to say.
One word that eased the heart of him who heard. Okay, so you know what? Even better than a glance, a word, or some words that make someone feel better. And then the highest level in this poem here is, what's the last thing?
Self-denying deed.
A self-denying deed, right? Something that I do for somebody else that I lose out from. Okay? Now we're going to go into the second stanza. These are called stanzas. How do you say that in Hebrew? Whoops. How do you say that in Hebrew? There are 2 stanzas in this poem. Shtei? Batim. No?
No.
In poetry, we call it a bait. Okay? And in English, we call it a stanza. Okay, so now we're going to go to the second stanza. But if through all the livelong day, if throughout the whole livelong day, meaning by using that word live long, is trying to show us that a day is so long. There's 24 hours in a day. In every hour, there's 60 minutes. In every minute, there's 60 seconds. How long does it take to give a word, to give a glance, to say a word, to give a glance? And if through all that live long day, those 24 hours and 16 minutes in each hour and 1 minute and 60 seconds in each minute, in that whole live long day, you've cheered no heart. What does that mean, you've cheered no heart?
No, did.
To cheer is a little dead. You haven't made anyone feel better. You haven't, you didn't make anyone feel better. By yay or nay. Yay or nay is yes or no. You didn't make anyone feel better by anything that you said. Not yes and not no. No words that came out of your mouth made someone feel better. All the live long day, you didn't do anything. You didn't even say a word, not yes, not no, no, the smallest word. There was nothing that came out of your mouth, nothing that you did that cheered a heart, that made someone feel better. Okay, line 11, if through it all, you've done nothing, you've nothing done that you can trace. Okay, you haven't done anything through that whole day, 24 hours, that you can trace. What does it mean to trace? If we look back here, the word trace, it says to trace la'ater. Okay, another meaning of the word trace is like when I have a picture and then I take a paper on top of it and I trace it, right? But here it's a different word, to trace back. Okay, I go back and I try to figure out, right, through the day, but there's nothing that I can trace. There's nothing that when I think about my day, I can think about it and say, ah, that I did, that I said. Ah, my friend was sad, I gave her a hug. There's nothing I can trace that brought sunshine to one's face. Okay, so there's nothing I can go back and point to and say, I did that, and that brought sunshine to one's face. What does that mean, brought sunshine to one's face?
Made a person smile.
Made a person smile or made a person feel better, brightened the person's day, right? So there's nothing I can do that trace that brought sunshine to one face. No act so small that helped some soul and nothing cost. Okay, you didn't even do the smallest act, the smallest deed, the smallest thing that helped some soul, that helped somebody. Okay, soul's a neshama, right? That helped somebody and nothing cost. It didn't even cost you anything. In this stanza, they're not even talking about a self-denying deed. They're just talking about a small word or a look, something that doesn't cost you anything, that doesn't do it doesn't hurt you at all. You didn't do anything. Then count that day as worse than lost. Okay, so then that day, you should count it as a day that's even worse than a lost day. All right. So who do you think that this poet is talking to when he wrote this poem? What type of people? Let's say, wait, let me go back. Let's say he wanted to write this poem because there was a group of kids who came and did volunteer work in his grandmother's old age home. And he wanted to tell them, you guys are amazing. You're so great. I'm so proud of you. You're such great kids. You help other people. You do so many good things for other people. Okay, do you think that this poem would be an appropriate poem for that group of kids? Is that who this poet is talking to? Is that his audience,
No.
people that he's
No.
talking to? No. Why? Why do you say no?
Because he talks about, the, like, I'm looking for words. He's like almost preaching people about the fact that you should do something meaningful with your day, otherwise it's wasted. So it's almost like just come and do something with it. So if you're already doing it, it's great, but this is like not a lesson for you. You're already doing it.
Right. So even though the first stanza says, if you did good things, great, count that day well spent. That's not the point being made in this poem. He's not saying the point of this poem, the message of this poem is not, oh, if you did something great, kakava to you. That's not the message in this poem. That's not who this poem is talking to. This poem is talking to the people who don't care about other people, who think about only of themselves, who don't think about people who have a harder life than they have, who aren't trying to think about what they can do to help other people. And it's giving them like musar, like what Shaked said, it's preaching to them. It's trying to teach them a lesson, to give a message to them that, that you need to change your ways. You need to think about other people. You need to put other people before yourselves. Okay, and a lot of times the title of a poem is what gives us an idea about what the main idea of the poem is. What is this poem called? Count that day lost, right? It's not called Count That Day Well Spent, okay? Count That Day Well Spent is a poem for people who went to go volunteer at the old age home. Count That Day Lost is telling these people, is talking to the people who don't do anything nice for other people. And that's the point it's trying to make. Okay, even though there's only two stanzas and they're equal and they have the same amount of lines, the point of the poem is in the second stanza. If you're not doing what I mentioned in the first stanza, which really isn't a big deal, then you're terrible. Like your days are worse than lost. You have to change your ways. That's the idea of the poem. All right. It's not a difficult poem. Sometimes poems are very difficult. It's easy to understand. All right. Wait, I'm going to go. Hold on. Why? Do you hear me? Is everything stuck by me? Okay, I feel like everything is stuck. I'm going to stop share and go into it again. Hold on. Okay, is there a problem in the, did someone write something in the chat? Okay. All right, I'm going to go into the share again. Okay. If anyone wants, if you prefer to go into this by yourselves, it's in the classroom, but we'll look at it. Okay. All right, here it talks about a stanza, right? I just told you that. A stanza is a group of lines in a poem. How many stanzas are there in Count That Day Lost? How many stanzas? 2 stanzas, right? Okay. Hold on. This is not working. Okay. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a little bit of work to, wait, let me just see. No. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of work to do until the end of the lesson connected to this poem, okay? So, so I'm going to write it in the WhatsApp. You're going to go into your classroom, into this assignment, and you're going to work on the slides that I tell you about that are connected to they're all connected to this poem, okay? So you're going to do slides 3 and 4, which is what I showed you in the beginning of the lesson, which is watching a little video and answering questions, okay? You're going to do slides 7 and 8, which are really easy, and then 11, 12. It's really all like very easy, you know, multiple choice, like very, you know, like connected to the just basic understanding of the poem. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. So it should not take you very long at all, and hopefully there's place to answer everything. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm sending now in the group, and I'm going to also write it in the classroom which slides you should do, okay? So everyone should be going now into their classroom, and you should be able to finish this by the end of the lesson, no problem. And I am here on WhatsApp, or you can call me on the phone for any questions or problems, whether it's technical problems or tochen, content problems. I am here to answer you. It might look like it's a lot of work because of the number of slides you have to do, but some slides will take you like about a minute or 2 to do. So it's just divided into different slides, okay? So I just sent you on the WhatsApp what you should be doing. Does everyone know where the assignment is? Does everyone understand what they should be doing now?
I think we all got it.
What?